So it's a wonderful morning, isn't it? I got up at 7:30. I couldn't stand being in bed, even though generally I can just close my eyes and go back to sleep. So I got up extra early. I thought my meeting was at 9, but it wasn't at 9 at all. It was at 10. And then we had computer issues slowing online meetings, slowing down the computer to the point where I can't open files. But then when I realized whenever I opened the computer for the video call tab, it would freeze the other tabs. And so they ended up switching to another type of video call, which helped to free up the work pages so I could view them while I'm on the call. But then we couldn't get the phone working. And I swear that they only half set up my phone, like when it was first being set up. They were trying to do something and they didn't end up doing it, and they said, "Oh, we'll just fix this up next time," and then they never fixed it up. So it's a little bit of a sabotage, them only half doing their job on the first setup, and then I'm being told, "Oh, I'll have to speak to someone about this because I'm not really the IT expert, and I'll contact you later this afternoon, see if we can actually work something out." But then they said, "Oh, try your mobile app." So I stayed for like 5-6 minutes playing with my mobile, and the mobile app worked. And so if I continue on with the job, I'll have to make all calls via mobile. And then and so that worked in itself, but then they said, "Oh, yeah, okay, well, it works on your mobile, but I'll still contact you this afternoon to see if we want to proceed with helping fix up the usage on your computer, or whether or not," they were basically saying, intoning that I might not get the job because my computer seems to be a bit slow and stuff. And sure enough, it's the cheapest computer and stuff, but but anyway, so what I might do is if they do allow me to work after today, to put the Slack tab on incognito so that when they call, it's on the incognito tab, so that it might not muck around with the work pages tab. So I might try that next time I'm online, but I might not have the job by the end of the day because they're like, "Oh, no one else who's working has this issue." And so they were like, "You're the only one with this issue," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, but if I do get to work tomorrow and stuff, I just start my first shift tomorrow, and it's going to be so nerve-wracking, but because we haven't really run through the training very well, because of all the glitches and muck-ups with you just connecting phones or having to do the video conference call while trying to work your work pages and things. It's all slowed down. I basically, if I didn't do this training session today, I haven't really done anything. I learned a little bit more about the phone usage, like what line number to connect to and how to connect the phone call, but we didn't really run through things, like everything, very well. So I can pick up the phone tomorrow and be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what the hell I'm doing," because we haven't really run through it very thoroughly. But in retrospect, I essentially know what I'm doing, and I essentially know how to use the phone, but they didn't say what to put in the notes when you're making phone calls, and I'm like, what do I put in the notes? And so it's just that everything hasn't been run through very well. It's like I've run through the script once or twice, but I haven't run through it very thoroughly. I hadn't done one voicemail reading or anything, but essentially you just read what's there. But I got a couple more tips today, but it wasn't very thorough because we were busy dealing with glitches for the whole hour that we had the session booked. Over just practicing, so it was really silly actually. So, but I should receive an email or a call or something. Email or call this afternoon, so just to confirm whether or not they want to keep me on the job, or confirm whether or not I'll be working tomorrow as I had planned to. I'm supposed to be starting my first shift by myself tomorrow, and I'm like a little clueless as to, and they've cleared all the other people's notes, and so I only have my notes, and I'm like, I'm not really sure what I'm really writing, but I essentially just write. I mean, I got given a bit of a tip today, which was good. It's a bird's nest. Look at that. Poor bird's nest must have fallen down. Anyway. So I'm essentially just picking up some, while I'm going on a walk, I'm just picking up a little bit of grass and putting it on some dung that I just passed. Kiara, no birds. Look at that dog. Always in trouble. Yeah, but I'm supposed to be starting tomorrow for a 3-hour shift, and I'm like still up in the air whether or not I should start. And I'm like, it's so unfair. But it's okay. I mean, if I don't get this job, I'm in the running for another job anyway, so maybe I'll get this $100,000 a year job working in sales. I'm in the running for one of that. I'm not, I put in an application. I'm not really in the running. They didn't shortlist me yet, but if they do, if I don't get this job and they shortlist me, I'll be like, well, it's not a bad exchange, is it? From zero to hero, really. That scenario. Look at that sun right up there. On an overcast day, that might rain sometime. You're pooping I think we should have like a pooping collection pad and scoop up the poops and shove, because right now we're just putting grass over the poops, and it's like you can go splat with your foot. So like, annoying, but I don't know. I'm just going for a little walk and walking off the tiny bit of depression I have collected from having my hairs raised over the fact that, I might not be hired after all. So it is a little bit depressing, but I've got other stuff I can do. I've got my stories, I've got other things. What's that? what that is. Hopefully it's coffee. But yeah, if I don't get it, I don't get it. I'll just play for something else that probably has a better system. I've got so many things I can do. Better than just walking around. I can do more things than just walking around. But it's so stressful though, because the training's lasting forever, and it's such a simple script, but I was still learning today, and I was like, that's a problem, because you should know what you're doing, and we didn't really cover everything. We hardly covered anything, and I'm like, I'll probably pick up the phone if I do get to work tomorrow. I'll probably pick up the phone and be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But, whatever. I'll just deal with it. It's a simple script. Just run through it. Shorten it if you can. And for the rest of the day, I'm just doing music, a bit of writing. I might do the writing first, just a couple pages, because my writing's slowing down, so I'm a little bit more hesitant to know what I'm doing. I'm on the halfway curve, and I'm like, oh, I've got a halfway more to do. So I think that you just do it like a little bit, even if it's just a couple of pages. In a few days, you'll have like almost 10 pages, and that's like a big increase from a couple of days before. As if you didn't write any pages, you wouldn't have that 10-page increase. So the trick is just to do a little bit every day, even if you don't really feel like it, or you don't feel like you can connect with the story. You just write, and then if it doesn't connect, you just make it connect by adding to the story. It doesn't have to make sense the first time you write, and so you can just add and add after you've done your first draft. But essentially, you start with your first draft, and then you add and edit, and then you read it again, and then you edit, and then you read it again, and if it looks fine, you can keep it, or if you think it needs more, you add and edit again. And so it's a pretty lengthy process, actually, especially when you're like making up a story and you don't know what on earth you want to write. So but I'm getting there with the story, and just add a little bit, because I'm slowing down, because I'm like, I don't know what to write. I don't know how to make 50 pages. It's like you don't concentrate on 50 pages. You just keep writing a couple of pages, and then you get there. In a week, you'll be up to like 60 or 70 pages, and then another week. It can take a few weeks when you're not writing your fastest or your best, and then you end up, it could be a few weeks, but if you didn't write anything, you wouldn't have that. If you're just waiting for the genius moment when you feel like writing, or you feel like you can write another 20 pages or 30 pages in one go, it's like you could wait until you feel like it, or you have a great burst of ideas and you want to write it out, but then you've wasted so many days not writing anything. So I just write even just a couple of pages, because in a week it'll be like so much longer than just waiting for the time you won't want to splurge on your writing. So that's sort of what I find. So I'm doing that first, then I'll do some music, which I just have to edit my music. It's going to take a full week if I do a few songs every day. Once again, you can do 2 songs or 5 songs or 10 songs. You just do it. So that's what I'm doing if I don't get this job. Just keep working on it, even though I don't really earn much money with the writing. Especially the writing is like the worst thing to sell. why do you feel like being a writer when you don't sell anything? You're like, I don't know, it's just in case you can sell something. Virtually. As opposed to, your aim isn't to sell something, it's just to write something just in case you can sell it. I don't even approach publishers because they're expensive. It's like, $5,000-$10,000 for editing, another $5,000 for distribution, maybe $20,000 for distribution, depending on the agent. And then you got like additional fees and everything, so you're spending like $30,000 you don't have. So I just do freelance. It's so much cheaper, but you don't get anywhere really. But the people who do get somewhere, they just keep putting their stuff online until something catches. So it can happen. The miracle can happen. But right now, I'd like to know how the book selling actually works, because they've reduced my books to more than half price, so it's only a fraction of the cost of how it's supposed to cost. And I know that's to encourage buyers, but I don't know whether they charge you so that you're being debited the additional costs, or whether you just earn nothing, practically nothing, and then debited the additional cost for the print and sending off of the item, and have someone else buy it cheap, but you're in debt like a few dollars because of maybe $6 or $7 per book that's sold because it hasn't sold for enough. I don't know how it works, or whether they cover the costs or what. I don't know how it works. And I'm like, these books that are supposed to be like $15, $20 are like $5. And I'm like, okay, so if a book sells for $5 and it costs like $8 to just print it off for the buyer, and then a few dollars more for the postage, it's like, does that mean I'm debited minus the $5 that I get from it? And I'm like, probably. So I don't know how it works, but it's the most affordable option if you're wanting to be a prospective writer. So, which I'm sort of am, sort of ain't. It's just really hobby. Anyway, gotta get back on that computer thing. I've gone for my walk.